I don't know why the fuck the mic does this. I don't know why it just mutes itself sometimes for no fucking reason. Drives me nuts. Well, I noticed because there's like a shitload of chats, and I'm like, I don't think the chat's gonna be popping this much right away. Well, fuck, man. Oh, that's the whole. I'm not gonna get any views after the fact. Ah, shit. All right. Well, I made a lot of great points. I told you guys who all the winning players were. That's so fucking dumb. Like, you guys can't see it on camera. Let me just zoom in real fast. So there's like a little thing here, like this. It's so fucking small, and I never hit the button, and for some reason it just fucking does it. So anyway, I'll just sum up what I was saying here so I don't have to repeat it all. Basically, two defenses that play well in pass defenses do not play well in run defense. Expect it to be a run-dominant game. Of course, the best on paper plays and showdowns don't always mean the best to make a lineup work to win a tournament. So that's what we're going to try to figure out today. But that's annoying. Turn PC mode? What the fuck are you talking about PC mode? I don't have no fucking PC mode. You can't just say words. You can't just say phrases and put them together. Anyway, I expect it to be a run-dominant game. Joe Mixon, the man of the thumbnail, highest projected player here. 20.6 or 20.6 implied points or an 11K salary. He is highly priced. Some tweets going around this week, Cody Main in particular, I think beating the drum of the fact that showdown pricing is not quite correct this year. QB's underpriced for the most part. That's why a lot of times we keep seeing two QBs make the winning lineup. Same thing again here with the skill position guys, higher priced, Mixon at 11K, Breece Hall at 10.4, CJ Stroud at least gets a 10. But Rodgers at 9K, the cheaper price here, and the guy's probably going to make a lot of lineups at an optimizer today and maybe makes a winning lineup as a result. Breece Hall, 19.6 point projection, so about one less than Joe Mixon. Breece Hall last week, the workload came down for him on the year, as I've mentioned a few times. He's just not quite getting that full dominant bell cow back goal line role in particular. Only 2.4 red zone intended touches per game for Breece Hall, one inside the 10-yard line per game. For comparison's sake, Joe Mixon's at 4.8, 2.4, so a little bit more than double in both categories. So that's what a true bell cow looks like, is getting that goal line work, being able to kind of jam your head against the wall, trying to, just score that touchdown. Breece Hall's not really getting that. And then last week, overall splitting work with Braylon Allen a little bit more than you'd want to see. I'm not sure what you do with Breece Hall here. He's going to be played a lot. Still think he has a good workload overall, but it's not as great as people seem to think it is. The price tag could be cheaper than Joe Mixon, but I don't know if he gets into every lineup. We'll see. But I'm willing to fade Breece Hall today, even though, look, I know people out there love Breece. I think he's still talented enough. He's not the same guy. He's not bringing explosive plays. He's not efficient every play as he's been in the past. So for Breece Hall, I'd be willing to play him for sure. But if he's chalky, I think I'd prefer Mixon if I have to choose between them. Aaron Rodgers at number 3, a lot of pass game weapons for him to go to. He didn't do any of that very well last week. And in fact, one of the touchdowns go to Gibson last week. So for Rodgers, as I said last week, still expect him to try to feed Davante Adams at some point in this matchup. A little bit more man defense, which would benefit Garrett Wilson. Davante has not been able to get open against man defense, 0.5 yards per out run against man so far in the year, even though he's getting targeted 26% of the time. So Davante, from the numbers I look at, objectively not good against man defense on the year, which Houston plays at a 38% clip, which is a pretty high mark relative to some teams. Like Jacksonville plays a little bit more, Detroit plays man a little bit more. But Garrett Wilson, 31% target per out run against man defense, 3 yards per out run. He might be a better player than Davante if you are going to go with Rodgers as your number 3 projected overall player. CJ Stroud, 15-point projection. He's just been awful this year. Catchable ball rate, just flat average at 66.5%. EPA per pass is still positive 0.06. He's not making colossal mistakes. Even under pressure, only a negative 0.3 EPA would be towards the better side of the league. But he's not doing well downfield, 20-plus yard throws, a 0.18 EPA. That's kind of where he excelled last year, particularly with Tank Dell. Tank is now the wide receiver 1, so that's going to do a little bit better for him. I would say looking at Dalton Schultz would be interesting as well in this spot. Schultz, target rate going to tight ends for the Jets, 16% is pretty high. So Schultz, number 2 receiver here. I think people will go to Tank Dell pretty aggressively. People are dying to play Tank Dell. If you're playing Stroud, I think Schultz with him might be a better move. Garrett Wilson, number 5, talked about him in the man defense matchup. He's got a 14.5 projection at a $9,600 salary. And Tank Dell, outside the top 5, 13.5 for him. Davante, 13.4. Schultz, 11.1. Screw Breece. I think a lot of people might feel that way. You took him in the first round, but hey, I don't think it's all his fault. It's just like At a certain point, when you get to be a back who's less efficient, has a little bit less juice than you had your first couple years, you just need to get insane amounts of volume, and he's not getting insane amounts of volume, and he's still getting a good amount. 19.6 and 10 touches a game is good. It's just not like what Joe Mixon's getting. If you compare these two guys, it really, I think, spells out what Breece needed. He needed to be the dominant part of this offense, and in reality, he's just a part of an offense and now has even more guys by the week to try to placate Aaron Rodgers. Your top value plays, J.J. Taylor, who does get a little bit of work behind Pierce, Ogunbowale, and Mixon. For Taylor, probably not a player I'd want to go to unless you're assuming that Mixon should get worse. Why would you CW takes between the PC mode and that? And honestly, Jen is saying the mic is haunted. I missed that before, but that might be correct. And shout out the ladies here. Ladies night here on Splash Play. Why would Breece have a strong rest of the season? They're not winning games. The defense is getting worse since they fired Saleh. These are things that don't help Breece out. And the last time we saw him, he was basically in a 50-50 timeshare. So why would he? I mean, please tell me why you think it. I just don't get why you would possibly think it besides, a little bit of maybe bag defending. I don't know. Rucker, and they're also a team, by the way, that at a certain point, you probably don't play guys if they keep losing like they've been. If they lose this game today, like I don't know if they have any shot to make the playoffs. I don't even know what the rate would be right now, but I assume it's not that high. I don't like Breece, but yeah, I think it's wishcasting. But I think to say he's gonna have a better second half, like what would possibly make you say that? I don't get what we've seen that would make you say that is all. Jeremy Ruckert at number 2. A value play here at a 1K salary, does get some work, does get some touchdowns. Politically correct mode. I thought you were giving me actual mic advice. That's also terrible. Trust me, I'm not the one who's going to complain about cancel culture, even as one of very few people you guys probably know that does in fact have suffered from cancel culture. Not really though. I canceled myself. I quit. Isaiah Davis, value at $200, 0.4 projection, not a player I'd want to play. Ruckert, I think the most appealing out of this group. Taylor's going to come up more than he should. Ruckert, I think, looks better. Jets D, getting some picks against Stroud, but inaccurate. Still will try to do some stuff there. But 6.9 projection overall for them, not the best. $3,400 salary, a little more appealing. They have been bad, again, since Saleh got fired, so maybe they have a little bounce back here at a cheaper price tag. If you were to get the Jets D on a slate with a low total to start the year, you've probably been stoked to play him at $3,400. So Jets D, kind of an interesting play, I think. Riley Patterson, 4,800 and a 9.4 fantasy point value for him. So kicker coming in, defense is coming in, Texans just outside the top 5 values. So again, probably with a low total here, kicker and defense favoring slate would be my guess based on the projections we're seeing here. Let's go to the ownership though. Let's see if we can figure out. All right, so Mixon, your top projected owned player right now. Wow, 21% at captain. He's been crushing lately. One thing I've been trying to adapt to in some of my play in general is that you're not going to win friends here by denying a super chat. Get the fuck out of here. CW. It's always the guys that come in, like, and CW's been here before, so I'm sure he's a nice enough guy. But like, it's always the guys that come in and start dominating the chat, and they turn surly immediately. But please, yeah, super chat everything. If you're going to give me fucking PC mode jokes, please. Breece Hall, 61% ownership, 18% at captain. Breece Hall, again, a fine play. If you want to bag defend Breece, you could do it and take that 61% ownership. Captain, I'm okay with playing him at captain. All right. I don't really care, man. Can you take a lap and come back with a better attitude? 5-minute lap for CW. That's enough. Aaron Rodgers, 53% here at ownership overall, 7% at captain. Garrett Wilson, 43% overall, 11% at captain. CJ Stroud, 42% overall, 5% captain. It's weird energy today. Is it because it's Halloween? Is it because I'm not wearing a costume? Am I going to get weirdos today because I'm not dressed like a sexy cat like you guys all want to see from your Showdown hosts on Halloween? Devontae Adams, 38% overall, 9.5% at captain. I don't think he gets that owned, to be honest. Devontae Adams has done nothing so far as a Jet. And as I mentioned, like, those man defense stats are really troubling to me. He's got a negative 0.8 EPA per target versus man defense. And a lot of that could be, bad QB play, all of that. Really did play with not great QBs for Vegas for as long as he played there. But also, you're fucking the star receiver, and you're treating yourself as such, and you have. And I watched receiver, and I saw this man acting like he's the one that's still great, and everybody else around him is not good. If you can't get open versus man, it's on you. So I think for Adams, we're going to throw the white flag in, or the challenge flag on his skill at this point. I think he could start to do it. But anyway, I don't think he gets 10% owned a captain. If he were to be a 5% owned play, which he fucking deserves based on how he's played this year, then he'd be a more interesting play to go to just on the hope you get one of the good games. But again, it's a tough pass game matchup. Adams doesn't get open, so I would not want to be there at 10% ownership of captain if that were the case. Chat, we're in the clown costume and Lewis Spags. There we go. It's just like, you don't have to give a bunch of chats and tell me you don't want to be our friends. I can make money by listening then, I guess, if that helps. Under 10% owned guys here overall, 9.5% for Robert Woods. Robert Woods on the year has not been good. 12% target per out run rate. Positive EPA, 0.13 EPA per target, but that's fine. Everybody else has a positive EPA in this offense too. Mechie, 0.12 EPA per target, 16.1% target per out run. Feels like he's not getting more snaps. Diggs went out early enough in that game, right? Yeah, Diggs played 38 snaps last week before he went out. Tank Dell played 53. Woods got to 30. Is that right? No, Woods got to 24. Mechie got to 20. And Hutchinson's been running wind sprints. Hutchinson played 44. So Woods' snap count was higher, but it wasn't high enough to feel great about. The guy who's going to be out there the most who's not Tank Dell is going to be Hutchinson. But Woods is playing enough snaps at 9.5% ownership. I do think that stands out as a play that he's out there. He's a professional receiver against the Jets D. Maybe he has some veteran ability to get into spaces a little bit more. I think there's a case to be made for Robert Woods, even though I do think he is still a gross play overall and only projected for 3.9 fantasy points today. Darren Ngubawale, when you're getting a lot of third and longs, you'll get him more. So if you expect Joe Mixon to fail, putting Ngubawale in would be the move. If you expect the Jets offense to score more, let's say you put Breece captain, Garrett Wilson captain, anything that's really Jets dominant, I think putting Ngubawale in would be a little more logical to go that way. Ruckert, 5.8% ownership. Talked about him already. 3.8% for Sims, 3.1% for Gibson. Gibson scored that touchdown last week, but I don't know that he got a lot of work, actually. Got more with Lazard out. Gibson still only played 6 snaps last week, so Gibson, a little bit of trappy play at 1,200. J.J. Taylor, 2.1. Cade Stover playing a lot of snaps. So that's one of the things they think could happen this week is that I think it was actually on the ETR, Silva and Levitan stream. They were talking about a little bit for Cade Stover that maybe they run more 12 personnel out there and just don't play 3 receivers quite as much because Houston is a team that historically does play 3 wide receivers a good amount. Cade played 34 snaps last week, it looks like, while Schultz played 47. So yeah, Cade just outside the top 10% area, but 11% ownership. Definitely more of a flex play than a captain play, but I think Cade's okay. Relative to all these guys, the guys I would play the most around this range, I would think Woods, Stover, Braylon Allen, just direct Breece leverage, never a bad thing. He's going to be pretty chalky again. Ngubawale, Ruckert, everybody else I think I'd probably pass on here. Let's go to the DFS optimizer, the solver next. Let's see what it's going to do. And of course, if we look here, just try to find the pure math based on ETR projections. People are going to be driven to the most. So 25 lineups here, no boosts, no stacks, force, or anything like that. Let's see what we get. And guys, if you appreciate this content, number 1, please hit that like button and subscribe. Number 2, I do a similar process every day for NBA, except I have my own data that I create for NBA too. So there's one little differential there. Last week, got a lot of stuff right. Felt really good about it. Been hearing a lot of positive feedback. So go check out the link in the chat right now. And I'll leave it in the pinned comments too. At SplashPlayNBA. Try to get to the first 100 subs on there after we started on Monday. So please help hit that like button and subscribe on at SplashPlayNBA. I'll be back there today at 4 p.m. every Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. doing that and prop betting. Basically giving you guys fucking free pick'ems from unabated data on that video every day. More 12 personnel makes sense with how bad pass protection has been, especially with Green at guard. Oh, we're talking about guard play. There we go. Shout out to Wade, Morning Spags. Appreciate all you guys watching here. And again, if you are watching, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll put the flash and GIF up just so we're all on the same page here. All right, solver, let's go. Your cash game lineup right now is of 11:18 a.m. on the East Coast. Breece Hall, Joe Mixon, CJ Stroud, Aaron Rodgers, Jets D, Jeremy Ruckert. So Ruckert makes it in. Breece Hall at captain coming up. And Breece Hall, spoiler alert, and 100% of lineups it looks like. What else do we have here? So overall, you're getting Rodgers on 100% of these 25 lineups made with, again, no boosts, no correlation given to it. So Breece Hall and Rodgers in every lineup. If you were to fade the Jets offense, actually, one thing I think RPS does, I believe it's RPS that I've been listening to. They do listen to a lot of showdown content just to make sure, like, A, I'm on the right path. B, like, see what the competitors are doing out there. They do one thing where they talk about the cash game lineup and what sort of this cash game lineup represents as a game script. So, which I think is interesting. I don't know if it actually helps for tournaments, but I would say if you look at the overall exposures, like 100% Rodgers, 100% Breece Hall, it's anticipating there being enough production from the Jets here. Maybe not a ton of touchdown scoring because we are still getting defense in a good amount. Jets in 84% of these lineups, but expecting a little more Jets dominant builds, Jets offensively scoring and moving the ball at a pretty good clip. So that's one thing to kind of look at here. Besides, on the Houston side, you're not getting pass catchers and you're getting the run game. So you're saying carved up production for CJ Stroud. Maybe he runs a little bit more. You're saying Mixon gets to kind of his middle outcome, maybe higher middle outcome here to make a lineup. Jets D inhibits Stroud enough, keeps him out of the, out of the captain at the very least, if not more. And Ruckert makes it in. So I think playing a build where Stroud pass game goes off would look interesting. I think Jets pass game going off would also look interesting. Texans D dominating would also be interesting right now. But you do see a lot of Jets, a lot of Breece Hall, a lot of Aaron Rodgers. Tyler giving out treats. Oh, shout out Tyler. Appreciate him giving out the free membership. And I don't know who got it, but I hope it's somebody good. Still laughing at throwing the challenge flag at Dante on skill level. Yeah, he's not good, man. He's really, I don't look at the separation stats on fantasy points data, but I could tell you it's probably not very good right now. All right. What else do we got here? Stack construction. I think I forgot to look at in the last showdown video. We're getting 4-2 Jets and 44% of these lineups. Getting 5-1 Jets at 28% of them. 3-3 Jets at 24%. And 4-2 Texans at only 4% of them. So anything a little more Texans dominant is going to be more unique, it seems like, based on the pure projection math of it. Again, Jets getting in everywhere. That cash game narrative, if you wanted to go with it. Still doing it. Oh, and Dwayne got it. Good. Dwayne has a positive attitude. Love to hear that. But appreciate Tyler for giving that away. All right. We have no Sims on the solver yet. So if you want to get Sims for the solver, check the link in the description. No discount on the solver, unfortunately, but the money does support the show. And of course, you get direct access to it. So check it out. And if you want to pair it with ETR, then ETR projections will be in your solver and you can use it for that. Let's go to Stochastic next. Brand up. Here we go. All right. 10,000 lineups here. Jets, Texans. Taking a sip of water. I'm hungry. I know I'm hungry. Usually don't eat by this time anyway, but my body is saying, hey, you've done a lot of work. I already wrote up most of my fantasy points prop column that'll come out later today. I got fucking a lot of content coming out today, guys. So you get this stream coming up at 4 p.m. Splash Play NBA. I'll be back live again. What? I was fucking logged in already. Oh, man. Between muted mics, not being logged in on the Sims, it's a tough day here. But yeah, 4 p.m., I'll be doing the Splash Play NBA show. 5:30 p.m., I'll be on the deeper dive on Stochastic, doing the NBA slate there as well. And then at 7:30 p.m., I'll be doing the NFL Showdown live before lock on Stochastic, which I haven't done in, I think, years. So I'll be doing that today for Texans-Jets, filling in for Laffy because he's doing Halloween stuff with his kid, and I need to make money. So I'll be doing that later today. So check it out. Lots of content. My first, 4-show day in a while. A fellow member of the Adam Gang. There we go. All right. We got lineups generating, right? Let's do it. What is the percentage to first? Probably a third to first again. I don't recall offhand. Throw me off because basketball lately has been all 25% to first. Well, let's sim this out. 50,000 or 10,000 lineups, not 50,000. 10,000 lineups competing 10,000 times what we're going to have here. So we'll see what they give us here on the sim. And I am indeed putting that work in. Yes, I'm a freelancer. I'm a freelancer who's building up my own channel. So we'll do that. All right, Mike here. Produced the last NFL Showdown you did at Stochastic. It's probably the case. Yeah, it's been a while. I usually don't like live before locks because it does conflict with the kids' bedtime. But honestly, at this point, just gotta take the hours where you can get them. Just me, a working class man here. I am like the equivalent. I'm like a blue collar YouTube worker. I'm just here clocking in for my 800 views of video. Hoping you guys support the show. But please, your super chats, your memberships go a long way. And then CW's glib remarks do not go a long way. Yeah, why Tittle is a chalk? Yeah, I've been doing it for that long. I'd be curious to see the big data on how many hours of content I've done. Like in general, stochastic. Be curious to see how many page views I got when I was at Barstool collectively. I was the top page view guy there for a few years. Things you'd be curious to know that mean ultimately nothing. That's what I guess. Yeah. Working class hero. I'm sure there are guys that do like if somebody was doing like fucking dog walking in 100-degree heat. We got people that do like shit hard work that are much tougher than me. So I appreciate the sentiment, but I know where I rank. Top ROI lineup right now: Breece Hall, Devontae Adams, Jets D, Joe Mixon, Riley Patterson, Texans D. Listening in a crane. That's pretty sick. My son would love that. Kid's fucking obsessed with every truck-related activity. Though dump trucks, if you were in a dump truck right now, I'd be asking for picks. Texans D is your number 2 ROI lineup. Texans D, Stroud, Schultz. So again, a lot of Jets D coming up on the solver. Here you're getting the leverage against it with the stochastic sim. But Texans D, Stroud, Schultz, Mixon, Riley, Patterson, Tank, Dell. So wow, that is a very Texans dominant build with, I guess, Patterson being the bringback. Yeah. I didn't realize their line was out. I missed that. All right. So Riley Patterson, Jets kicker. Probably should point that out. Listen to you dressed up as Steve Irwin in a work meeting. I don't think you should be listening in a work meeting for the record, but that's funny. I hope you don't have the tasteless version with the stingray coming through your chest. I feel like that's a tough one. Dalton Schultz, your top 3 ROI lineup, or number 3. Schultz at captain. I do like Schultz at captain. I think that's a unique way to go tonight. Breece Hall, Stroud, Riley, Patterson, Tank, Dell, Texans. Texans D and number 4 again. Wow, 2 in the top 5 for Texans D. Texans D, Breece Hall, Schultz, Mixon, Patterson, Tank. Look, I'll tell you, man, Jets got bad juju going against them, and I don't think the Texans do, despite them being kind of a failure this year. I thought CJ Stroud could be an MVP candidate, and we're seeing the exact opposite of that. But man, the Sim's really saying like, hey, fucking Texans just putting the dirt on the Jets season, which I think is plausible. Mike Williams captain at number 5. No fucking chance. Mike Williams captain, Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, Joe Mixon, Riley Patterson, Tank Dell. I don't know what it would take to put a Mike Williams captain. They're trying to showcase him for a last minute trade, trying to get a Deontay Johnson 5th rounder for him. I mean, he played 36 snaps last week with Lazard out. So I guess, no, thank you. You, Lofty, and Neil probably have 10,000 hours collectively on screen or something crazy like that. I'm sure. I mean, with how many hours, not just NFL, for Stochastic, I have to have done 10,000 hours because I was doing 7 days a week there for a while. Let's see what else. I mean, there's really nothing else. Mike Williams, no shot. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to play 0 snaps, but I mean, if you get 35 the week before, it's not crazy. Like he and Robert Woods, 2 guys that people don't like that just did play a lot more snaps than you want. Let's look at some other captains here. I know people are going to want to see Tank Dell. If you have any requests, drop them in chat. Tank Dell, CJ Stroud, Schultz, Wilson, Riley Patterson, Texans D. Got to say, Riley Patterson and Texans D getting in fucking everywhere. Tank Dell, Stroud, Mixon, Kaimi Fairbairn, Riley Patterson, Texans D. Tank Dell, Stroud, Schultz, Devontae Adams, Riley Patterson, Texans D. So really, Riley Patterson's coming in everywhere. Yeah, you want to see Hutchinson? I don't know what it would take for Hutchinson to make it, man. His numbers keep getting worse by the week. I wanted to believe. Hutchinson captain, Breece Hall, Stroud, Schultz, Joe Mixon, Texans D. Hutchinson, Rodgers, Breece Hall, Stroud, Wilson, Riley Patterson. You're getting in everything. Hutchinson, Breece Hall, Stroud, Garrett Wilson, Patterson, Tank Dell. Hutchinson, Breece Hall, Stroud, Mixon, Kaimi Fairbairn, Patterson. I don't think that's it. Conklin. Also, Conklin captain, really? no, thank you. But Conklin captain, Aaron Rodgers, he'll give you like 1 touchdown to make the flex. I don't think he'd make it a captain. Of course, watch fucking him make the captain. Tyler Conklin, Aaron Rodgers, Dalton Schultz, Devontae Adams, Mixon, Patterson. Conklin, Rodgers, Breece Hall, Mixon, Patterson, Texans. Conklin, Rodgers, Breece Hall, Stroud, Woods, Tank Dell. Meh. Devontae captain. What do we got? Devontae, Breece, Jets D, Mixon, Patterson, Texans. So you're getting Mixon and Texans as your only bringbacks on a 4-2. Adams, Rodgers, Braylon Allen, Mixon, Fairbairn, Patterson, 2 kickers again. Adams, Rodgers, Breece Hall, Jets, Texans, Tyler Conklin. Adams, Rodgers, Mixon, Patterson, Texans, Conklin. Oof. I don't know how to I want to help Dwayne. Dwayne's a member for the first time here. Let's see. All right. So I'm going to put them all in, right? Wilson. It might not exist. Like, it doesn't mean that lineup is actually in the pool, to be just for the record, but I'll try. Adams and lineup contains Hall and lineup contains. Let it never be said I don't go the extra mile for people that even get gifted a membership. So please, that $5, guys, at $4.99 can't be worth more. Stover. All right, so this doesn't exist with Stover. With your first 5 guys, all greatly negative ROIs. This is clearly the extra mile. I've also had you on the stream. You can't doubt I go the extra mile. You're the biggest case. Yeah, this is not great. I would say you got to, for stuff like that, Dwayne, honestly, I would pay for the single lineup sim, which I'll show you guys in a minute. Solver has one as well. Just have, like, if you're a hand builder, just try to have a sim tool to look at and go, like, is this positive ROI or not? Showdown, look, you could still play a negative ROI lineup. I know people won't want to hear that, or people, especially the product people, like, you still really shouldn't. But for a Showdown, if you really have that feel for it, great. But, like, Mechie at captain is what was forced with that one. Mechie at captain just, like, is rough, I would think. Lineups with Cade in them. All right, let's see that. That's a little easier to pull off. And again, Cade in the flex, sure. I guess I could put him in anywhere. But lineup contains Cade Stover. Not great ROIs, but honestly, they're probably going to be less owned. Mixon, Brees, Stroud, Cade, Schultz, Williams. Mixon, Brees, Stroud, Cade, Kyami, Fairbairn, Texans. You're getting Cade mostly in dominant Texans builds. Here he is in a 3-3 with Brees, Stover, Schultz, Adams, Mixon, Patterson. So carving up the pass game production between 2 tight ends and that. Schultz captain. All right. Schultz captain. Sure. Schultz. We saw a couple already. Schultz, Brees, Stroud, Patterson, Tank, Dell, Texans. Schultz, Brees, Garrett Wilson, Jets, Mixon, Patterson. Also, you Owens are not paying for a membership anymore. Come on. Schultz, Rodgers, Brees, Hall, Adams, Fairbairn, Patterson. Schultz, Brees, Stroud, Wilson, Patterson, Texans. There you go. Let's look at the top 150 here and see what we get instead. I think we've seen enough of your guys' requests. Overall, though, your top exposures, you're getting Texans D, 57% overall, 22% ROI, 20% pool ownership, 57% overall, or 50.7%, excuse me, for Riley Patterson compared to 30%. So Riley Patterson, the flex, cut up a lot. Mixon, 50.7% compared to 44. No crazy captains. Brees, 47% compared to 44. So Mixon a little bit more in the field. Brees closer to flat with the field. Jets D, you're still getting above the field, 35% overall in the flex. Stroud, you're getting with the field. Rodgers, less in the field. Fairbairn, more. 32 compared to 24. All right. Your top captains right now, in terms of exposure. Joe Mixon, you're getting 29% exposure compared to 21% overall. Brees, you're getting 25% compared to 19%. Schultz, 11 compared to 4. So Schultz, I feel like captain play very live. I liked him in my brain, so I'm glad to see the sim is agreeing. Tank Dell, 7.3 compared to 8.8. Texans, 6.7. So Texans D is really the big one. The stochastic sim seems like a big fan overall of the Texans D. With Showdown and single lineup builders, I still start with the idea of the game story you're looking to tell. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable way to do it. All right. Player ROIs. Highest ROI, Texans D at captain. Second highest ROI, Texans D in the flex. Really, stochastic does not like the Jets offense, I guess, or at least does like the Jets creating a turnover or just things that make the Texans D work. But that is a lot of D. You never see the D dominate this much in the sim, especially with the low total. Schultz, 9% ROI for him at captain. Mike Williams, 6.5% ROI at captain. So sim seems to like that. Patterson, 6% ROI in the flex. Everything else negative is what we're seeing so far. All right, let's do our single lineup build here, and I'll give you guys 3 takeaways here to build unique lineups based on what we've seen so far. Let's go Showdown. Large contest. 35% to first. All right, captain here. So the issue is, like, my opinions on the slate are chalk. I think Mixon captain to me makes the most sense. him dominating this game. I just don't think the Jets are actually good. Not that Houston's giving me any reason to believe in that. Do I want to take the Mixon? That's so much ownership going to Mixon. I think I got to build the Schultz way at captain. How does he really hit? He gets so little red zone work, 0.3 red zone targets a game for Schultz. It's really tough. But I'll go Schultz captain. Maybe he somehow breaks a big play. I think we still have to get Mixon in here, but I will go Schultz overall. I feel like Schultz scoring touchdowns would hurt Mixon, but maybe he just hurts him enough to knock him out of the captain lineup. I would think it goes up, but like it's not like Diggs is dominating the red zone either. So that's that. He was eating the underneath work. Yes, it'll help him on terms of that. I mean, Schultz is the best projection he's had all year. He's got 10.8 fantasy points from Stochastic, but I don't know that it helps him in the red zone as much as it should. Let's see. Mix it in the flex. Let's go with that. Breece Hall. What was Breece's snap count last week compared to Allen? That's what I'm curious about. I know the workload got silly flattened out. Breece still played 46 snaps, it looks like. But Braylon played 19. I guess just got the ball basically whenever he was on the field. I think Breece still gets there. Mixon and Breece make it both in the flex. The way we get unique is Schultz in the captain spot. I think that works. Riley Patterson. So Riley Patterson comes up everywhere. Did he come up a lot via the solver? I don't recall seeing him that much. Riley Patterson. Oh, they still have Zerline in on the solver. So that's a difference. Oh, that's going to make things confusing. Okay. So usually if you have one kicker who makes every lineup, like it does seem like Patterson's making a lot of stochastic sims. Way to get direct leverage and then play the opposite one. So playing Kaimi Fairbairn would be the way to do that. Hey, if you don't know kickers on a showdown slate, you're the one that's in trouble, Adam, I would say. But I think overall for Kaimi, I don't know if people are going to play Riley Patterson enough because they're going to be like Zerline. If Zerline doesn't go, that probably drives down Patterson's ownership a little bit. So I will go Riley Patterson here, but I do think if you see the ownership come up and then if, again, watch the ETR stream later, if they're talking about, hey, like, oh, we have Zerline in, we got Patterson in now and he's going to be a great play. I would watch out for Patterson coming up, but I just don't think people are going to play him enough because they don't know he's the kicker, which is like for these casual kind of Thursday slates, that doesn't matter. So I'm going to put Patterson in, but if Patterson picked up this much ownership, might be logical Kaimi Fairbairn's way to get leverage on the kicker spot. Defenses. Texans D was coming up a lot. I don't know if this game script works perfectly for Texans D. I knew what Riley Patterson was. I still knew who he was as a player. I didn't say, what is Riley Patterson? But no, I didn't know he was out. I mean, apparently neither of us is the solver, so I'm not alone in that. I guess he must be questionable. I don't know. I don't follow kicker injuries that closely. I play who comes up in the DFS lineups generally. Texans D we're putting in, though. We leave some money on the table. I feel like not playing QBs when they're cheap is also kind of tough. But Hutchinson in play, Braylon Allen with Breece Hall in play, because maybe the pass game just doesn't get there at all. Kind of want to come off Breece Hall, to be honest. He's still so highly owned after a game where usage wasn't there. I like the matchup for Garrett Wilson. Let's go Garrett Wilson instead. Let's see what this does. Gives me 9,500 left. And I could put in Tank, play the binary outcome. Could put in Rodgers and play them playing from behind and him getting there through bullshit. See what happens with Rodgers. So the team here, I'm going to put in the single lineup simulator right now. Dalton Schultz, Joe Mixon, Garrett Wilson, Riley Patterson, Texans D, and Aaron Rodgers. Let's see what we get. Not my favorite plays in the slate overall, but I think this could be unique. It actually might be a negative ROI. We got enough positive ROI players in, maybe not. Zerline has been awful. He's missed a lot of those kicks you expect him to make. All right, that's it then. 32% ROI, 0.1% win rate, top 10%. You can see here. A little bit cut off. I don't know why. There we go. All right. I really don't feel like making a pivot on this, I guess. But just for fun, let's see what happens. Can we make it slightly better? My initial thought was Breece Hall. Could play Oppo kicker. Play Oppo kicker. So 2 kickers in here and a defense. Ugh. How's the matchup for Conklin? I don't think it's anything to write home about. Looks better for Schultz. It's not good for Conklin on paper. Texans only allowing a 7. Wait, was that right? Yeah, 7% target rate to tight end, negative 0.2 EPA on tight end targets. Conklin does get targeted out of the slot a good amount too, but twice the amount of targets are coming out of tight end. So I don't think it's a good spot for Conklin. It doesn't really matter. All right, this is a great lineup, apparently. So this lineup, the Schultz captain with this configuration, the sim seems to like. Schultz, Mixon, Breece Hall, Riley Patterson, Texans D, Kaimi Fairbairn. This is leaving 3,500 on the table too. Yeah, we're getting unique. All right. I'm surprised to see it be that high. 3 takeaways build unique lineups today. Number 1, Breece Hall and Aaron Rodgers make every lineup. So if you play builds with less of those guys, you play builds that fade the Jets offense entirely, you're going to get more unique. So projections push you towards those guys more than not. Still think those guys are plays that are perfectly fine. Obviously, the reason guy becomes 100% play in a sim and an optimizer or whatever, because that guy's a good play. When we talk about what people are going to play too much, probably going to play a little bit too much Breece Hall, probably play a little bit too much Aaron Rodgers. So to me, moving off those guys and some amount of lineups is probably a good move. Number 2 would be, the kicker thing is kind of throwing me off. Riley Patterson's going to come up a lot with stochastic sims. I'm not sure he's going to come up with the optimizer and with the solver sims. I assume he's going to come up a lot there. So your sharper players today will be playing Riley Patterson, but casuals won't play him as much. So I don't think he gets the 28.8% ownership they're expecting for him. I guess it might be 30.5%. I don't think he gets there, but he should be owned probably a third of the time, I would guess, based upon what this math looks like. So Patterson, a good play. If you hear him a lot in content, I'd worry about the casual ownership coming up a little bit, but I don't think people are going to realize if Zerline doesn't play that Patterson's the kicker, because people just don't do that on showdowns. What else? Number 3 takeaway to get unique. If you were to play the Houston dominant stuff, Houston pass game dominant, if you were to fade Mixon as well, that would make you pretty unique. I don't think Mixon is a player I want to fade in the slate. Let's say he gets hurt. Let's say he doesn't get touchdowns. I don't know. Somehow there are a lot of third downs, third and longs for the other players to come in, like Ogunbowale, like JJ Taylor. That'd be something that would affect Mixon. Dalton Schultz getting touchdowns can affect Mixon. So I think trying to strip away at Mixon is another way to get unique, but I still think he's more likely than not to make the flex, given the fact he's getting 25 touches a game. The matchup's not that bad on paper. So there we go, guys. That's it for the showdown. Again, a lot of content coming out for me today. But first of all, please do subscribe, hit the like button down below, leave a comment. Your engagements go a long way for me. I'm a solo proprietor here who's working pretty hard trying to build up a couple channels at once for the NBA and for NFL. And of course, Splash Play, my first baby, the one I love the most, the one I'm going to be here every day doing work, including tomorrow. Main slate review, similar process at 11 a.m. and then 12 p.m., the premium video where I go game by game, looking at my data sheet, trying to highlight some of the advanced analytic advantages for you guys out there. It's coming up tomorrow. Of course, Sunday at 9 a.m. as well. I will have the final takes video doing this process again and showing you guys all the data, all the sims, all that. Stochastic, 15% off. Link in the description. Please do check that out. It does support the show directly. Underdog, same thing. $1,000 in bonus cash. That supports the show directly as well. Unabated, I don't think I have a link in the description, but if you go to Unabated and use promo code SPLASH, you get $30 off. Of course, they have NBA, NFL props as well, but NBA have been shown on video every single day there, and I love that tool they have for their prop stuff. Thank you to all the fine folks who are paying right now. You too can support the channel, $4.99 down below. You get a VIP Discord. You get more access to me. You also get my data sheet and the premium video, the key stats video I do on Friday, which I think adds value. And I'll tell you, I'm going to be sucking off some commanders in that one based on what I saw this morning. Gamble responsibly, even it's always money time. And hey, I'll be back later today. So 4 p.m. on Splash Play NBA. Let me paste that in one more time. It's at Splash Play NBA on YouTube. Then 5:30, NBA Deeper Dive with Eric Lindquist. Get to hang out with him today. 7:30, my pal Greg Ehrenberg, who's been on, both these guys have been on Splash Play before, be doing the NFL Live Before Lock with Greg at 7:30 Eastern. So a lot of shit coming out to me. It's a spooky day of doing a lot of work. What scares Spags the most? Having to do things to earn money. Ooh. So I'll be doing, I don't know. That made me laugh. I hope this brought you joy. Back tomorrow, back today a lot with more. See you guys then. Enjoy your days. And of course, good luck. Bye-bye.